Welcome to Tia's Table, where we talk about making fitness and wellness doable for busy women like you and me. Looking for healthy meal ideas, workout motivation, and good conversation? Don't worry, I got you, girl. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to another episode of Tia's Table. I'm Tia, your workout and fitness bestie. A certified group fitness instructor and nutrition coach, I help women develop healthy habits that align with their health, wellness, and fitness goals. If you or someone you know is interested in living a healthier lifestyle, well, girl, you've come to the right place. Be sure to share this podcast with them, and I will give you all of the best tips, tricks, and all the advice you need to be a healthier version of yourself. Let's talk about all of the new things that are going on with us here on the podcast, as well as in my life, as well as your fitness journey, and catch up for just a second, because I know it's been like a week or so. I'm a little late with this episode, but it's okay. My children have gone back to school, first and foremost. Their first day of school was July 31st. So let's all just take a moment. They've been in school now for a little over a full week. The first few days of school were a little crazy. The drop-off and pick-up lines were like out of control. I was spending a lot of time in my car. I was stressed. I was irritated. I was like, this can't be the way. This cannot be what we are going to do until May. Like, it just cannot be so, right? And it was raining. Like those first couple of days of school, it was pouring down raining. It's actually raining again today. We've had quite a rainy season here in Atlanta, which I'm not hating on. I kind of like it, but it does make drop off and pick up a little difficult because people who don't typically drop off and pick up will drop off and pick up when it is raining so their children do not have to stand out at the bus stop. And I completely understand that. So it was raining. And when I mean to tell you, I was spending hours in my car. I have 3 different children. They all go to different schools. I have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary school age child. The drop-off times are close enough, but at the same time, not close enough. So it's not like I can load everyone into my car all at one time and like hit up all 3 schools. No. And that is mainly because schools now, which I don't know, maybe this was a thing when I was growing up too. Schools now have like a drop-off time. Like you can't drop your child off before a certain time. So you get in line for drop-off and then you have to wait for the doors of the school to open. Kids go in, boom. So let me give you just like a little bit of a taste of what my mornings were like. Now, my mornings are no longer like this, and we will get to that in just a second. But those first initial days, right? Those first initial days, me and my husband were tag teaming. We were knocking it out. The lines were still atrocious, but at least, it was cool. Then one day my husband had a meeting in the city. So like he also had to like get out there in the traffic and all of the things. And it was just me. And I had to do it alone. I did it alone one time. And I said, oh, baby, I don't care what you have to tell your job, but you tell them you work for me first and foremost, right? So you can't go to meetings in the city if it involves me having to do school drop off all alone. I mean, I probably can do that for you. I'll let you call in and use some of that husband PTO a few more times this school year, but for the most part, them meetings now need to be scheduled around what I got going on around in here. Because I can't do it. I cannot go through that, what I just went through again. So I had a little bit of a crash out moment. Since then, I don't know if someone called and complained at the school. I don't know if someone called and complained at the school district office. I don't know what happened, but miraculously, and it could just be that the Lord heard my cry, miraculously, the lines just kind of vanished. And now school drop off is quite peaceful. So now he can go back to like working his real job when he needs to. But those first few days really had me like I was on a limb. I was hanging on by a thread. I was trying to stay as close to the cross as I could while I was sitting in those lines, because you know what I remembered that I had forgotten over the summer when we were in perfect peace at the beach. I forgot how some of y'all really do be on 10, like first thing in the morning. You don't want to let people merge. You don't want to like share the drop-off line. You are very much so acting as if you own the school drop-off and or pickup line. And I just want to do just this sisterly reminder, in case that is you that I'm speaking to. Baby, we don't own any of that. All of us should be one band, one sound with one goal, and that's to drop these children off on time. And if you took the mindset of sharing, letting people merge, being understanding, we probably could all reach our goal of getting these children in here on time. But for the folks that are like inching up, they don't want to let people merge. Guess what? It's not on us. We didn't come up with the road infrastructure. We didn't put the logistics of how the lines are going to work together. The principal or somebody else did that. We have school crossing guards where I live. So I don't know whose job that is that determines how we are all going to get into this line. But at two of my kids' schools, it is a merging situation. We all have to enter into the parking lot, and it starts off as two lines, but then you eventually merge into one, and y'all really don't be trying to let them cars merge. Even though you know at some point you are going to be a merger. And when it's your turn to merge, you would hope that whoever is at that point in the line that lets the next person in, you would hope that they would let you in and they just wouldn't have you sitting there backing up the line, right? I'm just saying. There's no reason. There's no reason. And you know how sometimes you try not to be sassy? Like you try not to be sassy and you try not to be like, baby, you don't want this? Let me paint the picture for you. A lot of times when I'm doing school drop off in the morning, I'm literally in a robe and some sunglasses, which should be a big indication to the people who are not allowing me to merge that, baby, I'm in a rush, but I'm not. I want this child to be on time for school. But if you hit my car because you're trying not to let me merge, I'm cool with that because no one's expecting me to be anywhere. I have the time. I have the time and I will use it. If you hit my car trying to be a mean girl. And I'm like, really? Do mean girls grow up and turn into mean mommies that don't let people merge? I really feel like it's somewhere in there that is like the gateway. Like there is a path that some of them are on where it's like they grew up mean girls. Nobody ever checked it. So now you're a mean mommy and you don't let people merge. But it's okay. I've clocked it. I know those cars because, you see the same cars every morning. And for those of you who do the school drop-off and pickup line, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You see the same cars every morning at the same time, give or take. So you already know who is on what kind of merging behavior. So I just want to say, I'm so glad that things settled down for the school drop-off and pickup situation because really it was about to turn me into the real me that I try to suppress as much as possible because I'm trying to make it into heaven when I go home to be with the Lord, right? And that's how I know he heard my cry. He said, Tia, that's not what I want for you. So let me go ahead and fix these lines so you can drop your children off in peace. In peace. But let me tell you, the back to school of it all has really thrusted me back into all of the things that I had forgotten. But now I remember. Now I remember why the school season drags me for filth and wears me out. It is the emails. It is the newsletter for all of these children that I decided to have. It is all of the events, all of the recitals, all of the practices, all of the club meetings, all of the fees and the dues. And I know people like to say like, oh, you should appreciate it. It'll be, it'll be over before you know it. I know that. I have a child in high school now, right? And I remember the day she was born like it was literally 5 minutes ago. I feel like I love to know me in real life is to know I love being a mother. I have literally dedicated my life to it. I love cooking for them. I love it when they're home. I like taking them to do stuff. I like taking them places. I like giving them elevated experiences and making things super special and sweet for them. I love all of that. What I don't like is when grown people, like whoever is in charge of like the logistics of us just trying to be good mamas, y'all don't put the right processes in place for us to do so in a way that is peaceful, right? So I feel like administrators and people who know school is going to start on a certain day, now you could have planned this out, worked it out, flushed out a new system before these children got out of school in May. So that all summer you could rest and break, right? Then when you come back to school on the first day, things are running ever so smoothly. But I don't think they do that. I think they show up to the first day of school and they just say, good luck to these people. Let's just see how things go. And we'll choose to be reactive instead of proactive. I don't know. That was a 10-minute update on one of the most pressing matters in my life right now. But thank goodness it is over. And I'm not spending nearly as much time in my car anymore as I did those first few days of school. If your child has not started school yet, I hope you're still having the best summer that you possibly can. I cannot wait to see all of the back to school photos start popping up online. I've been seeing videos of children moving into college. I think that's so sweet. I know I have a freshman in high school right now. So in about 4 years from now, that'll be me. I'll be taking my sweet baby girl off to somebody's college, moving her in and sobbing the whole time. It is a wonder I didn't cry when I dropped her off at school the first day of high school. And that's probably because somebody's mama had pissed me off in the drop-off line. But anyway, there's an update on that. Other new things, let's talk about them at the end. I really want to get into why I called you today. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about what is on my table right now. And there are two things that I want to talk about. One of them is definitely that cottage cheese biscuit that I made. Mine ended up looking like Red Lobster biscuits, the little cheddar biscuits you get when you go to Red Lobster. Mine ended up looking like that because I didn't use a biscuit cutter, which who cares about that? You should only care about that if you're going to actually slice the biscuit and make a real breakfast sandwich, which is what I did. My biscuit just ended up being a little bit lopsided, right? So good. So filling, so easy to make. You don't need 100 different ingredients. You don't even have to be a baker. And you can still make these biscuits, right? Very few ingredients. They ended up being so good. The calories on them were good. You get a little bit of protein from the cottage cheese. I really don't have a bad thing to say about them. You can do as many different flavor profiles as you like. You can make them spicy. You could probably add cheese to yours. I did not add cheese to mine. But you can season the flour any way you want. And when I was making these on Instagram, people were writing me saying oh, I never thought to season the flour. And sometimes I forget that either people don't cook or they don't, I don't know. Let me not speak for everybody and what they do in the kitchen. But people were saying that oh my gosh, you season the flour. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I don't even fry chicken. That's not even my ministry. My husband actually fries chicken when we have it. But as someone who does not fry, even I know, well, don't you season your flour before you fry things? Or no? Am I just totally off base with that? I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is when I'm baking something, if I'm making a biscuit or some bread or some whatever, most people will be like, oh, just put the seasoning in the butter and make a butter and then put that on the top of your baked good when it's coming out of the oven, or smear it on there before you pop it in the oven or whatever. And I'm always yeah, sure, I'll do that. But whatever seasoning is going in that butter, I'm also going to put it in the actual dough so that my bread or my muffin or my whatever tastes the way that I want it to. I'm not going to solely rely on whatever's going on the top of this. So, yes, girl, make sure you season your flour. Be very generous with your seasoning. and your biscuits will turn out great. I would just recommend that you go ahead and roll your dough out and actually punch out the actual biscuits. Don't do drop biscuits unless you know you are for sure not going to make sandwiches, right? The other thing that I've been eating quite a bit of, because I'm trying to get back into my own habits of eating by the scale and being in my deficit and all of the things, I reintroduced myself to the cucumber salad that Logan made famous on TikTok. I have not been eating his exact one. I've just been using whatever we already have in our kitchen to make it. And let me tell you, the one that I have been eating, and it is so good, is cucumbers, obviously, right? I have been using the chicken tenders that you get from Costco, and I think you can probably buy them in other places too, but they're the Real Good brand of chicken tenders. They are low in carb, they are low in fats, they are like perfect. They eat like regular chicken tenders would. You just air fry them for about 15 minutes. They come out perfect. I have been chopping those up, and I've been having kind of like a fried chicken cucumber salad. And I put the onion in there. I still put a little bit of capers in there because I still have some. I put a little bit of tomato in there. If I have tomato, I have been putting that in there. And, just making it like a salad minus the lettuce. Minus the lettuce. And then for a dressing, I either use that Skinny Girl Dijon dressing that I've talked about a lot up here. It's by Skinny Girl. And it tastes really good. It's very, very, very low in calories. There's like hardly any fat in it. And it's the perfect salad dressing. It tastes good. And it really does marry very well with the whole fried chicken taste of it all. That salad, so good for you. So quick and easy to make. You could literally do your chicken tenders in the morning when you're doing breakfast or when you're putting your makeup on. Whatever, you're getting dressed in the morning, go ahead and pop those chicken tenders into the air fryer and take them with you to go. If you work out of the house, take all that stuff with you, take it to go. And it's the perfect salad for you on your lunch break. Or if you work from home, girl, pop them chicken tenders into your air fryer whenever you get a quick second and have them just waiting for you whenever you are ready for your lunch. It is so good, and I love the fact that it's helping me stay in my caloric deficit, which is very important to me right now as I prepare to have that surgery that I talked about on the last episode. And we'll talk about that a little bit too, towards the end. Those are the things that I've been eating, really craving right now, and I'm actually going to have that exact salad for lunch today when I am done recording this episode of the podcast. So let's move into what I really wanted to talk to you about today. Now, I know this was on our timelines like a couple weeks ago, but we all know and have mourned and have been shocked by the sudden passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner. In his passing, as people tend to do, they start sharing all of these lovely sentiments about the person, and I think that's great. I think that's nice. But sometimes I do wonder, if these people ever said this to the person that has passed before they passed. Like, were they with action, like verbally saying all of these nice sentiments to that person? And I wonder that because I feel like that is just super important to do. I think it's super important to tell people that you miss them or that you miss talking to them or that you were just thinking about them. You know how sometimes you might text a friend or call a friend and be like, girl, I really didn't even want anything. Like you don't even have to make time to talk to me right now. I was just calling you to let you know I had been thinking about you. Or you shoot them a quick text and say like, oh my gosh, I miss you. I miss like talking. We should catch up, whatever. I wonder how many people are actually doing that. And I only wonder that because of the culture that is now around communication, with people being like, oh, I don't answer my phone. Oh, yeah, like I'm not a fast texter, or yeah, I'll leave you on red. Or I don't know. A lot of the stuff that I see now on the internet really does concern me for us, like as a sisterhood, because I'm like, well, gee whiz. is this not as common as people make it out to be? Or is it really that common and you just have to get lucky if you end up with girlfriends who actually respond to you in like real time, or at least a decent time, or at least the same day, right? Is it common for people to only like get together and talk like every few months or like every month or so, right? Or is it uncommon for people to go long stretches of time without really having those good, deep conversations that can connect you as friends? And so I wanted to kind of talk about that, as well as something else that came to me while I was just watching everybody share how they felt about Malcolm Jamal Warner's untimely passing. And that is the fact that he was so young. He was only in his 50s, right? And I had recently gotten a chance to hang out with a friend, like in person, right? And while we were sitting, talking, laughing, we started talking about our 20th wedding anniversary, because we're both celebrating that milestone this year. Her wedding anniversary is way before mine. Like, hers is actually coming up soon. And we were talking about that. And, I shared with her that, you know what? I feel like it's really weird to me. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm like, it's really weird to me that you only get to be a bride one time if you stay married to the same person. You only get to experience that fun and that joy and that really good feeling that you get when, when you're having that day that's all about you and your love for this other person. You only really get to experience that at that high of a level one time if you stay married to the same person. And like me and several of my girlfriends will be celebrating 20 years this year. And so I had started kind of asking them each individually, well, what are y'all doing for your wedding anniversary? What are y'all doing for your wedding anniversary? And the general consensus was, for many people, we were kind of like, oh, well, we definitely want to maybe take photos, or we definitely want to do this or do that, because we never got the chance to do it when we got married 20 something years ago or 20 years ago. And I was like, yes. And see, so this is why the conversations and actually talking to people is important, right? And I was like, well, yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you. I'm like, you don't get to get moments back, or that's what people will have you think, that like, oh, if you didn't do it when you were supposed to, quote unquote, or if you didn't do it back then, like, you cannot recreate that same feeling, or you cannot just up and create that memory for yourself. And for me, I'm like, no, actually, yeah, you can. Yes, if you want to turn back time, if you want to reach back 20 years and create memories for yourself that you never got to, you can absolutely do that if that is what you want to do. If that's something that's important to you, if that's something that you feel like you want to experience before your time on this earth is done, I'm like, yes, you can. And we should all be way more supportive of people kind of doing all of the things, right? And so she and I talked about that. Another friend, we talked about that. And I'm like, and it's all about doing what is comfortable for you. So if you, as the woman, you're like, yeah, well, actually, I think I do want portraits that I can either leave to my kids, or like that my kids will have to show like my grandkids or whatever. Like, that is important to me, to leave that behind, or just to have that moment for myself. That's important. So I'm going to do it. Like, we should do it. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you should. I was thinking about this for myself, and I'm like, well, yeah, when we got married 20 years ago, we did have a wedding, right? We did. We had a wedding. I got to wear a wedding dress. I had a reception and all of the things, right? Now, I was 21 when I got married. And the age for this particular conversation is important. I got married when I was 21. And because I was 21 when I got married, I don't think I really understood the gravity of any of it. I mean, it's like I knew it was a big decision to make, but I didn't know to make a bigger deal about all of the details that me today would actually care about. So I think when I got married, number one, because of, I'm going to say, where things were in my family as like a family dynamic, I was basically told what people were going to be willing to do. Like, I may have wanted to get married somewhere, or I may have had a dream for my wedding or an idea of what I wanted, but that is not necessarily what happened. And I don't want to talk about this in a way that makes me seem like I was not grateful for the wedding that I got. It's just that it wasn't necessarily the wedding that I envisioned for myself, right? Okay, fine. And then two, with all things said, let me be completely transparent and fair in this conversation. I did get engaged whenever I got engaged. I don't even remember. I mean, I remember it happening, but I don't remember when it was. I've never been that kind of girl that remembered oh, this is the day you said you loved me. This was our first kiss. This was our first date. I don't know none of that stuff, right? So we got engaged, and I do know that from the time we got engaged to the time that we got married, it was like a 6-month time span. So did I really give my family a chance to give me a different kind of wedding? No, probably not. I probably didn't. They were probably working with certain time constraints. However, I still feel like now that I'm a parent, I really do kind of feel like some compromises still could have been made. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so I'm like, yeah. So for me, I would love to do something to mark the occasion of being married for 20 years. I don't know that I necessarily feel like I want to include a whole bunch of people in that just simply because I don't want to pay for it. But I'm like, why can't I now create the memory or just have the experience of being like a bride again? This time, though, being fully aware of everything and how it is important to me, how important it is to me, and getting a chance to enjoy it in a way that maybe I just wasn't going to be able to at 21, right? And so in having conversations with my friends about this, I was like, yeah, I want to talk about this on the podcast because I feel like right now I'm using the example of the whole wedding anniversary thing, but I'm like, no, this could certainly apply to literally anything else a woman wants to do. It's never too late. It's never too late to do what it is you either felt you deserved to do, or it's never too late to get what you felt was rightfully yours. It's never too late to change the trajectory of your life. It's never too late to say, yeah, actually, that is very important to me. I want that to happen to me, while I'm able to enjoy it and experience it and live it very deeply. Because time is just not guaranteed to us in any way, shape, or form. And I think as women, we do so much for other people, and your life just naturally turns into that, right? You go from being like a young girl to a teenager. Maybe you babysit, maybe you help out around the house, whatever. Then you go off to school, or you go off to trade school, or maybe you join the military, or you whatever, but you grow up, right? As you grow up, you have that short period of time where it truly is all about you, where you really don't have any responsibilities. Your parents are still probably helping you out if they can. So you're not truly out there on your own as an adult. You still have that covering a little bit, but for the most part, you are kind of living on your own, right? And then if you choose to, or if you have, you get married, and then it's like something just switches, and before you know it, you do have at least one child or children, and you go into this role of service where a lot of your time and your mental capacity becomes something else, because just a long, never-ending list of things that you got to do. And in all of that, you do kind of forget about the things that were actually important to you when you were that young woman who was just starting out. This also kind of made me think about how my generation, which I'm a millennial, and I can never remember if the generation that came before me, if that's Gen Z or Gen X or Gen whatever. But if I'm a millennial, whoever is like older than me, but like closest to my age, right? So the people who are probably like 45 and up, them, whatever that generation is called. I feel like us, those two generations, and I'm going to speak for myself maybe in the culture that I grew up in. People really didn't talk to you about how different your life was going to be or how different your life was going to change or how much your life was going to change when you decided to get married. I feel like there was so much preaching about not getting pregnant and really not enough preaching about like, girl, wait to get married. It was always kind of like, wait until you're married to have a baby. And it was always like marriage was the milestone. Marriage was the milestone. Marriage is going to make sure you don't like shame your family name, right? If you get married and then some bad stuff happens to you, like, girl, somehow it's just not as bad as if the bad things happen to you while you're a single woman. And I don't know what that's about, but I'm so glad that the millennial generation, as well as that neighboring generation, that I feel as if anyway, we're raising young women to know that you have several life choices. And I know that's what I do for my daughter. I have literally raised her to not center like marriage and romantic relationships so that she knows as she gets older, you can literally do whatever you want to. Like, and you actually should. You should focus more on like your relationships with your girlfriends, build those really deep, good sisterly bonds, especially because she doesn't have a sister, but develop those really rich friendships with your girlfriends. If you should happen to fall in love with somebody, that's great, but make sure you live your life and you understand the complexity of living a rich, full life before you get married. That way you have something to compare marriage to. That way you can say to yourself, well, I'm living this particular life right now. If I get married, my life may look like such and such. Which one do I prefer? And then you can make a very educated decision about that. And I feel like that wasn't necessarily something that people talked to me about, at least when I was coming up. Not at all. I never heard anyone say anything about being married until I was already married. But I do feel like had someone actually talked to me about how much my life as an individual would probably change getting married. And that's not to say like getting married is bad or wrong. I don't want this to come out like that. But I wish someone would have said to me like, oh, Tia, you do realize, what is it that you want to do with your life? Okay, you say you want to do all these things. Well, you do realize if you get married, you might not be able to do those things, or at least you might not be able to do those things in the way that you saw yourself doing them. So you need to think about that, right? Yes. And I feel like that's what happens to just women in general. As you move through life, you take that natural life progression, and somewhere along the way, all of the things that you said you either wanted to do, needed to do, wanted to see, wanted to be, whatever, little by little, you kind of like say, you start to kind of like either not prioritize those things or you just flat out forget about them. And then once your children are probably older, grown, or like out of the house, then it's kind of like you try to reach back and remember all of those things that you said you would do. And then you try to do them. But by then, like, girl, we're not that we're old, because we're not old, because I don't want nobody to message me saying I said such and such age was old. Not that we're old, but you are older. Maybe you don't have as much energy. Maybe like other life things have happened and now you can't quite enjoy things the way you probably could have had you done it when you were actually thriving. And that is my point to all of this, right? It is not too late. It is not too late to get in shape. It is not too late to go back to school. It is not too late to get a new hobby. It's not too late to learn a new language, learn how to bake, learn how to, I don't know, girl, put things together. If you want to be someone who grows your own food, like it's not too late to do any of that stuff. We just have to be willing to sacrifice the time in order to do so, or to just start saying flat out no to some of these other things that have been ingrained in us that are actually important. I cannot tell you how many times I have said to myself, like, ooh, I really want to practice the guitar, but like I need to clean this bathroom, or I need to run this errand, or I need to do that. And I've had to start coaching myself into telling myself, like, girl, you really don't have to do that today. Like, if today you want to play the guitar, go sit down and play the guitar. What is going to happen to you if you don't do the things on your to-do list? Nothing. You're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to be on punishment. You're not going to get grounded. No one's going to take your allowance. I never even got allowance growing up, but I know that's someone's reality. Nothing's going to happen to you if you just say F it and make the to-dos wait, right? Doing something as small as spending time on a hobby or reading a book or just taking a hot bath, creating that for yourself is way more important than I think we realize in actual real time. And now some people that I, see living life online, I think some people have a real good handle on this, right? So you're probably nodding your head as I'm talking like, yeah, girl, yeah. But if there is something bigger that you wanted, because I know some people don't have any issue with like trying a new restaurant or doing some of these like smaller things like reading, learning an instrument, whatever. Maybe it's the bigger things that we feel like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that because either I don't have the time or I don't know what all is entailed in that. I don't know how that works for my budget. Like we think about all these things because now we are full-blown adults. And I know I did that for me. So like as me and my husband were talking about the whole vow renewal thing, first of all, for some reason, vow renewals just kind of give me the ick a little bit. That's no shade, no tea, no matcha, right? They just kind of give me the personal ick. If they are done in front of like a group of people. Because really, at this point, I'm like, if you got something to say to me, just say it. Why do we have to do it in front of a group of people? Because it's just been me and you these 20 years anyway, right? It's just been me and you these 20 years anyway. So why we got to include all these other people that ain't been in here to burp a baby or pay a bill and what we got going on? Like, it's been the two of us. Let's keep it the two of us because that's been working for us real good up until this point. But whether it's something like that, like a vow renewal, or whether it's something like an experience that you've always wanted to have, something that just feels big and like out of reach, but really it's not out of reach. Maybe we just don't want to reach far enough for it. I feel like we should truly start thinking about how to make those things more of a reality, because while we are in service to like so many people, our kids, you got a job, whatever, first and foremost, we should be in service to ourselves. And I know it sounds maybe even a little reckless, maybe even a little irresponsible, but at this point, I'm kind of like on a YOLO type vibe for my life right now. Because truly, I'm like, no, really, you really do only live once. Like, this is my actual life, and how I spend my days, it actually matters. Like, I want to make sure that I lived and that I didn't just go on vacation. And then when I wasn't on vacation, I was merely just existing from day to day. And there was no spunk, no spontaneity, no fun, no nothing. No pizzazz, no razzle dazzle. I want my life to be so full of razzle dazzle that when people see me in real life, it truly does look like confetti is like pouring out of me. Like, oh my gosh, like here comes Tia, and look at that little fun bubble that she has wrapped herself in. That's really what I want for myself. And for my personal challenge with that is truly the fact that it's just a lot. Like, managing this family and this household is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot going on in here. It's a lot to remember. And sometimes I do get bogged down by all of that to the point where it does kind of shut me down, or I'll tell myself, like, I don't even have the energy to go somewhere extra or do something more than what I got to do just to keep all of this afloat. And that causes me to miss out on things. But I'm working on getting out of that mindset, because I think now more than ever, I really do feel like, yeah, no, you actually have to fully live, because if you don't, it might be too late when you decide to flip that switch. And I know I would hate that for myself, and I would hate that for anyone listening to this. If there's anything that you want to do, anything that you feel like you missed, like when you were younger, you always wanted to do it, or you always wanted to try it, or you always wanted to fill in the blank, whatever it is, girl, it is not too late to get out there and do it. And I don't care how old you are. Most of us listening to this podcast, though, because I've been doing the research on this podcast a lot lately, and most of us are at least 35 years old. The women listening to this, we're 35 to 55 years old, right? And it's not too late for us. It is not too late. And I also kind of mean this in the reverse too. If there is something that you've been doing that's just not working for you, it never has, but you were kind of just putting up with it anyway, or tolerating it, or just doing it because you felt like that's what you were supposed to be doing, girl, get rid of that. Get rid of that. If it truly isn't making you happy, and I'm not saying quit your job or quit your person. I'm not saying that. Well, do I mean that? I don't know. It depends on who your person is, what they doing, what they got going on. But if something makes you miserable at just the thought of it, stop doing it. Don't do it anymore, unless it's eating well and exercising, in which case, girl, we just have to tough it out. Because let me tell you something, and now we're going to slide into something else. So just to wrap up that first little bit, it's never too late. Girl, go get what was always meant for you anyway. The other day, and maybe we can start the workout report now. The other day, I was walking, because you may or may not know, I've been having a bit of a cardio shoe situation. Well, I got my new shoes. They're great. They're Nikes. I love them. I was out there walking. And the thought came to me that, no, really, Tia, you have to make time to do this every day. Like, and you know how sometimes you know something, and I even say this to other people. I have actually been paid to tell other people this. But that doesn't mean it had truly hit me. It hit me the other day that, like, no, you have to do this every day. And it hit me because while my shoes were like being shipped to me and my other shoes were literally hurting my feet to walk in them, I wasn't walking. Like, I couldn't walk because I didn't have the right shoes. And just in those few days, I could tell such a big difference in my body when I wasn't walking, and I didn't like it. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like how I looked. And just in that short amount of time, it came to me that, like, actually, no, you actually need to be walking every day. Like, it's imperative. You probably shouldn't be skipping it. You always need to make sure you're fully equipped and ready to go for a walk. Because, girl, if these few days are any indication of what it would be like for you if you weren't walking, that's not a life we want to know about. That's not a life we want to live. Which does bring me to my upcoming surgery. So if you may or may not know, I'm having my cyst removed. I have talked to my doctor about all of the possible outcomes, and the strategies that will be put in place to help me with all of the outcomes. I'm super comfortable with the plan that she has. I'm ready to have my cysts removed. If you've never had cysts on your ovaries before, I'm very happy for you, because if you have ever had them on your ovaries, you know that it is painful. You are full of pain. You are in a deep misery when those cysts decide that they are going to hurt. So I'm excited to get them removed, and not for nothing, because I'm not a medical expert and I don't know truly the science behind how all of the things work against you, how those weapons might decide to prosper. I feel like it's best that the cysts go. They weren't here when I was born. I'm really not a fan of foreign objects just being in my body, so I'm excited to have them removed. The recovery is only supposed to be 2 weeks, and I have had laparoscopic surgery several times. I had one for each of those children that I gave birth to, and outside of those C-sections, I've had 2 other surgeries. One of them was for an ectopic pregnancy, and one of them was for a tumor that I had to have removed. It was benign, right? So I'm not new to this. I'm kind of true to it, actually. So I'm not worried or concerned about the recovery process. I know how to recover. I know how to rest and recover properly while also slightly moving your body in a way that aids in recovery instead of setting you back. So I feel really good about it. Now, of course, I'm not going to be taking Pilates while I am going through recovery. I'm going to hold off on taking any of those classes until I feel like I can do it. But I will be walking. Not right at first, not any of those first few days, but at some point when I know, and it's a feeling that you have, like, oh yeah, I think I could probably walk for like 2 minutes. And we're not talking about me going out here doing these 14-minute walking miles like I normally do, right? We're talking about me saying, I think I could probably walk downstairs. And then the next day I might say, I think I could walk to the porch. And then the day after that, I would say, I think I could walk to the mailbox. And then you just build and build and build until your body gets back to a place where movement is comfortable for you again. So my workouts will not, I don't want to use the word suffer, but that's the only thing that comes to mind. My workouts will take a beat. They'll take a pause. Let's say that, until I feel like I'm recovered enough to kind of start going back to Pilates. Now, with that said, this month I will celebrate 100 Pilates classes, and I'm so excited for that. The studio gives you a cute gift. They take your picture, and you get to sign your name on a wall when you've hit 100 classes, and I'm so excited for that. I feel like my Pilates practice has grown quite a bit this month, because when I realized I was only 20-something classes away from hitting my 100 class milestone, I was like, yeah, well, I'll just take class like every day, Monday through Friday, so I can hurry up and knock these 20-something classes out and earn my 100 class badge before I go out for my surgery. And I gotta say it, even though I'm not a fan of going over there every day, my Pilates practice has gotten a lot better. And if you're a person who has not quite tried Pilates yet, or you're on the fence about it or whatever, something else that I've learned during the month of August so far is that even if you're in shape, even if you can start taking classes at the 1.5 level or the level 2 level, whatever, still take level 1 classes. Because what I didn't realize was happening in level 1 classes, and it could just be the instructor that I go to for level 1, you're actually learning in level 1. Like, they actually are teaching you exactly how to articulate your spine and exactly how to move your body so that you can do some of the moves we do in 1.5 and level 2. I will definitely be incorporating level 1 classes into my workout regimen when I'm done with the surgery and I'm fully recovered. I already started taking them like last week, But when the surgery is over, I'll be going to I'll have to. Initially, I will have to go to level 1 classes because my body won't be ready for 1.5 or level 2. I wouldn't expect me to be ready for like a 1.5 or level 2 class probably until October. Yeah, because this surgery is supposed to have a 2-week recovery time, but if you've ever had a C-section or just a laparoscopic cut in general, you know how it can still be kind of tender. You might sneeze, you might cough or whatever, and it still hurts. And for me personally, if when I sneeze, cough, or laugh, if I still feel like, ooh, I can still feel my incision when I do that, I don't do nothing crazy until that has fully diminished, right? So I would say about October, I'll probably slide back into some of the advanced classes. But something else that they mentioned in class the other day, I was in a level 2 class. The instructor said something about level 2.5 classes and level 3 classes. All this time, I thought level 2 was as high as they went at my studio, when really, no, there are other levels to this. But I guess they're just not going to introduce us to them until they feel like there's enough people in the studio that can actually take those classes. And that probably will be for some time because the studio has not even been open for a year yet. So that's where I am with the workout report. Now that we have discussed all of the things, let's talk about some of the random things that are just on my mind right now. Number 1, this podcast. Now, this podcast will celebrate 4 years next month on September 15th, actually. And because of that, I'm like, I think it is time that we start doing a little bit more with the podcast. It's time for us to start talking about other things. If you are on a fitness journey, every now and again, you can expect for me to still talk about fitness stuff, working out, whatever. But I also feel like if you need that, there are 4 years of content right here. If you start at the very first episode that I ever made and you work your way up to 2025, certainly there is an episode in there that covers what it is you either have a question about or you want to hear me talk about. So there's that. Number 2, I do feel like there's just more to me as a person. And since this podcast is such a big creative outlet for me, I want to explore like all of the different topics that I would like to talk about with you all. And I would like for it to be more interactive. So I did create an Instagram page solely for the podcast now. It's Tia's Table Podcast over on Instagram. I'm going to post photos, videos, recipes, the stuff we talk about here. If you care to see images from the things we discuss, that is where those things will be. Hopefully, it'll become a place where we can talk to each other in the comment section so that we develop a really good sisterhood friendship over here. Now, I have to also be completely honest with you and say that a big part of the reason why I created the Instagram page is because I really do want to see who all is even listening to this thing. When I get the analytics for my podcast, I'm always happy enough with them. They send them to me every week, and I'm always happy enough with them that it keeps me, it keeps me doing this, right? But I guess I would like to know, as the host of the podcast, like, well, who is really listening? What do they really like talking about? What would they like to hear me talk about? Would they like for me to bring more guests onto the podcast? All of those things, right? Like, what is it that we want to discuss and talk about as girlfriends? And hopefully the comment section will tell me everything that I need to know about what people would like from this podcast and how I can make it better and how I can make it a more enjoyable experience for you, the listener, as well as me, the creator and the host. So there is that. Now, what all have I seen on television? Because people really like to hear me talk about that. And I'm going to do a quick rundown. Number 1, the Barbara Walters documentary on Hulu is quite fascinating. I did not know Barbara Walters had that dog in her, but apparently she did. I, as someone who went to journalism school, loved Barbara Walters. Like, I grew up watching her do interviews. She was always the example they would use during college for pretty much anything interviewing related. But I didn't know she was a savage until I watched that documentary, and that kind of made me love Barbara Walters even more. I think for most people, it probably would have turned them off. But for me, I was like, yeah, no, Barbara, actually, yeah. Actually, yes, Barbara. You were an icon, and you always knew it, and you always moved like it, and I really love that for her. That is on Hulu. Everybody should watch it. I watched the Amy Bradley documentary, the girl that went missing on the cruise ship, on Netflix. I don't know if Amy jumped. I don't know if them people stole Amy. I don't know if Amy has been trafficked. I don't know if Amy is still alive, but I do know that the conspiracy theories are out there and they are quite abundant. They are quite abundant, and it has been interesting to me to kind of look at those online now that I've seen the documentary. Watch it. And then let me know what you think may or may not have happened to Amy. Cruise ships are getting a really bad rep right now. From that poop documentary to this one with Amy coming out. I just saw a clip from CBS News the other day that a slide broke on a cruise ship and somebody was actually in the slide. And I want to say they said somebody fell. It's like, going on a cruise doesn't really seem like anything we should be spending money to do right now. But I also understand that cruises give you a lot of bang for your buck. And if I were to go on a cruise, there is an adults only cruise line that looks really great. It's getting really good reviews. And if I were to do a cruise, that's the cruise line that I would want to go on. You can look up which one I'm talking about. Since I'm not getting paid to talk about anybody's cruise line, I'm not about to promote them. But look it up. They get nothing but rave reviews by all the people that have cruised with them. I have still been watching Divorced Sisters, and let me just say, the storyline with Kadeen, whose name on the show is escaping me. I think her name is Rashida on the show, or is that LaToya Luckett? See, girl, I don't even know. But y'all know who Kadeen Ellis is, right? Her character on that show. The last episode that I saw, it was a cliffhanger. And her husband is probably about to find out that their daughter is not his. Her daughter's real father is actually the man that is dating one of her friends in the friend group. Now that man is a low-down dirty dog. He done already told Kadeen that he's like in love with her and he never stopped loving her. He's only even dating the friend to make Kadeen jealous because Kadeen, as quiet as it's kept, is in love with him too. She said that no one has ever made her feel like that man has made her feel. Not even her husband, who for what it's worth, seems like a really nice man and a great father. But I guess Ronrico, which is his real government name. He was Tia's boyfriend on Sister Sister. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I guess, Ronrico just was really not doing it for her. You know what I'm saying? So now that this man, who is a friend of her husband's as well, I guess they either all went to college with each other or they all know each other from back in the day. I don't know, but it's messy. And I have got to watch the newest episode to find out how all of that goes for her. Devon Franklin and LaToya Luckett's storyline definitely is still a little messy, although they cleaned it up in this past episode. And I think now the two of them are actually on good terms with one another. I guess we'll see where that goes. But I don't really like his character on this show. I don't. He kind of rides the line of being a little arrogant in the bad way that's unattractive for me. And because I've never seen him act in anything else, we only know that he was like a director and producer on other projects. When the acting comes seemingly easy to me, I'm like, oh, no, bro, I think that's just who you are in real life. Has to be. Because this is your first acting role. And the fact that you're doing it that well makes me think some of that has got to be just you. because we saw how you did our good sister Megan. Now, who Megan is married to now has nothing to do with Devon Franklin's personality, and I know somebody is going to reach out to me and be like, well, no, girl, I think that was on Meg why they got divorced. Nope. Or even if it was, I don't care. Because if she left him, it was for a good reason. I'm always root for the girl. I'm a girl's girl. I'm always root for the girl. If she left him, it was for good reason. It was probably that stank attitude that he apparently has. Allegedly, possibly. I don't know. LaToya Luckett does a great job on this show. And it's so good, even though it's kind of like a soap opera, and even though it is Tyler Perry, the show is so good, and I really hope y'all watch it. You have to go on BET Plus. I watch it through Amazon, but you got to go up there because it's good. Like I don't know, like it's just so good in one of those ways where you can't really explain it. People just have to go watch it, which brings me to another show that I watched, The Hunting Wives. Now, listen. If you like white people mess, that is the show for you to watch. And I never shy away from a show that's going to show me some rich white people that ain't got no business being in trouble or being involved in mess, but somehow they end up that way. I'm going to watch it every time. I don't know what I thought that show was supposed to be about. I really don't. But during the first episode, I had to keep pausing it to make sure I was in fact in the first episode because so much happens in the very first episode of that show. It is remarkable how they seem to cover every bad, lewd, inappropriate thing that a person can do. They seem to cover them all in that show. Many of them either happen in the first episode or there's some foreshadowing that tells you there's more mess where this came from. If you have not watched that show, set aside a day. Do not start it at nighttime because then you'll be up all night watching it. Pick a day that you are free, that you feel like just binge watching a show, because I think it's like 8 episodes. And girls, start it and you will not be able to look away. You won't be able to look away because you will keep saying it cannot get any crazier than this. And yeah, it will. It just will. Now, I will have to say that I don't like how the show ended because for me, I like a real tightly closed up ending if we're not getting a second season. Maybe they're bringing it back for a second season. I don't know. I think that show is based on a book. I have not read the book, so I don't know if how it ended is how the book ends. But I do know it is a good show. And I do know that y'all have got to see it because I cannot be the only one sitting here thinking, I cannot believe I saw what I just saw and that they put this on Netflix. Like, I cannot believe it. Watch it. It is worth the binge. It is worth the hours. I also wanted to talk about Project Runway, and how La Roche is the best thing that has ever happened to that show. Oh, well, that I think Heidi coming back is a close second. Now, gotta admit, when Heidi left that show, so did I. Kind of like when Tamar left the Real, so did I. I didn't have a reason to watch. I never really liked the show after Heidi left. I love Christian Siriano down, but I just couldn't get into the new host and like the new panel of judges. So when I found out Heidi was coming back, and certainly when I found out La Roche was going to be one of the judges, I said, oh yeah, this is going to be must-see TV along with Christian Siriano because I just love him in general. If I ever become famous and I need a dress for something, that's going to be the first person that I'm going to beg to make me something because I think he's great. Now, Law is bringing an unexpected element to Project Runway that we have not seen before. When I mean to tell you, he is raw and he is honest and he is saying stuff that is making like Nina Garcia and Heidi Klum like clutch their invisible pearls. He is, because he's telling them like, not only are your clothes ugly, but so is your attitude. Like... like, you need to go somewhere else with that. I got in full glam to come to work today, and all of this stuff is ugly. Like, I could have stayed home for this. I love it. I love it because he is absolutely right. up until he was on that show, they did kind of sort of send everybody home, but at the same time, they would kind of sort of also give everybody a trophy. Like, they were really gentle with their release. And sometimes I'm like, no, these are full-blown adults. Kick them off the show, especially if they got a nasty attitude or if they were one of the ones back there causing ruckus. Why are y'all even fighting? This is literally a fashion designing show. Why are we being so mean? Which I think the issue with this season is they have done way too many group challenges. Like, we're on episode 3 and they have yet to do an individual challenge. They've been making these houses, and the houses have been basically group projects, and they're making collections. And I kind of am over the group challenge thing. I'm like, let these people do individual challenges so we can really get to see them in their own creative mind without the requirements of the challenge being like a group thing where everybody has to match or at least have the common theme or whatever. Project Runway, you can watch that on Hulu as well. Now, before I called you, girl, one of my friends texted me and was like, ooh, girl, the Duchess is going to have a Christmas special. And I am delighted to hear it because we know her show is coming back in the fall. Hearing that she's going to have some sort of holiday special. Love to hear that. If the Duchess can hear me, girl, go ahead and do a full collection of like all the Christmas things. Give me a Christmas apron. Give me some mittens. Give me some tea towels. Give me some ornament or like an ornament making kit I can do with my kids. And yes, I know these are all things that I could buy from somewhere else, but I feel like it would have that Duchess like little special touch to it if I bought it from her. So girl, make all of the things. And I also kind of want to know why she's not in a store yet. Because I feel like everybody else is in a store. Even Paris Hilton, a girl that I never knew for her cooking capabilities, has a pot collection at Walmart. Why doesn't the Duchess have a line in a store yet? Kelly Clarkson. No, it's not Kelly Clarkson. It's Drew Barrymore. Oops. Drew Barrymore has a cooking collection. Her stuff is cute. That's actually who my air fryer is by. I have a Drew Barrymore air fryer and I have a Drew Barrymore kettle, like electric kettle. The only reason I'm comfortable with saying those brand names, even though I'm not being paid for them, is because I actually use those and they're actually good products. Listen. What the Duchess got to do to get her name and her pictures and her worldly belongings on a shelf in a store? My 7th grade algebra teacher used to say worldly belongings, and it only came to me recently how funny that is. Like a few weeks ago, I was telling my kids something, and it just came out naturally as if I was Miss Whitaker reincarnated. I hope she's still alive and thriving. I don't know why I said reincarnated, but she would always say your worldly, and it was the way she said it. Get your worldly belongings and get out of my classroom. But yeah, why isn't the Duchess on somebody's shelf somewhere by now? She keeps selling out. Every time she releases a collection or she launches some new stuff, it sells out. So I'm like, what is that about? What is that about? But I'm here for the specials, and I can't wait to see it whenever it comes out. And then lastly, even though this is, a few weeks old, it's never too late. Fits the theme of the show to talk about Beyonce and the girls. And now listen, I saw all of the messages that I got about Destiny's Child and their reunion and how do you feel about that because it didn't happen in Atlanta and yada, 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 yada. Girl, I'm cool with it. I'm cool. I was at night 1 and night 4 here in Atlanta. I got to see everything that I felt like I wanted to see. I never expected to see Destiny's Child at my particular tour stops. And because of that, my little heart is content. Now, of course, would it have been fun or special or very good bragging rights to say you were there for that? Yes. However, and let me just help everyone understand how my level of jealousy doesn't work, okay? If those women had gotten on that stage and did a full set. And by full set, I mean Bootylicious, Say My Names, Emotions, No, No, No Part 2, Second Nature, if you know, you know. If they had done, I woke up this morning, the sun, if they had done Happy Face, if they had gotten up there and done Survivor, if they had gotten up there and done anything off of the writings on the wall, right? If they had gotten up there and done a set, then yeah, you might have seen me be a little envious, a little jealous. But since those women, the three of them, they got out there, they walked to the end of that stage, they did a twirl, they did the mute challenge, which Vegas failed. And I don't know how you fail a challenge that's 2 years old at this point. But that's neither here nor there. I do understand that every hive is not the Atlanta hive, right? They did that little twirl and then they walked back. That's not much for me to be jealous about or for me to feel like I missed out on something there. It wasn't enough for me. I love Kelly and Michelle down. I follow both of them on social media. So I feel like I see, the different things that they do. Kelly actually has a show on Netflix right now, too. It's called Making the Band, if I'm not mistaken. Listen, everybody is not always going to get everything. And if you are new to the hive, you have got to know that certain tour stops, she's going to pop out and give them a little bit of something extra. Now, what we do know is that her family loves Atlanta and we hold a special place in her heart. That's why we always get more tour stops than anybody else. I don't think we should always expect, though, because we do get so many nights, for those nights to be like our own little private residency here in Atlanta. I was glad that I got to see Jay-Z on night 4, right? I was very happy to be in the room when he came out. It was fun, right? But I don't think we should always expect for little moments like that. Like she is going to have to be enough for y'all. Because that's the only person you're paying to see. And if she brings somebody else out there with her, then yay, yay, yay. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, girl, I really only paid to see you. So that's all I was expecting. I was only expecting to see you. And I know this is an unpopular opinion. I know it is. But for me, I'm like, you don't even have to bring Kelly and Michelle out on that stage if y'all not gonna give me a quick little medley of something. If they're just going to walk and twirl, I know it's unpopular to say, but you could probably just keep it. I don't have to see it. It's fine with me. It's fine with me. That would be okay. And I would still feel like I got my money's worth out of it. And that's all I have to say about that. Well, I hope we all enjoyed catching up. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Please be sure to join me on the Instagram page at Tia's Table Podcast. Please be sure to share the podcast with your friends, rate and review it. If you have feedback for me, please message me and give me all of that goodness or not so much goodness. If you have something that you would like to hear me talk about on the podcast, I'm always open to those type of recommendations or suggestions as well. I hope you continue to have a great day when you're out. Compliment a woman, say something nice, make her day, make her smile. Don't compete, don't compare, don't complain. What God has for you is for you. And never knock another woman's hustle. I will be talking to you again real soon, girl. And I might even see you on Instagram. Love you, girl. Bye.